Dave, it's about time we covered some of the virtues of the Dyna range, publisher Brum said to me down the line. So a few emails to Harley's PR folks, and a few days later, a brand new 2016 FXDB Street Bob Special Edition was available for collection at Morgan & Wacker Brisbane for Heavy Duty magazine appraisal. And appraised it was. Every appraising opportunity I had for a bit over a month, and I loved every minute of it. The first thing I noted was that the special edition is as comfortable for the larger gentleman as any of the touring range.
This is a very comfortable motorcycle. For a big guy, I actually find this more comfortable than some of the touring models. I do. Because it hasn't got that big bolster at the back of the seat. It actually means that if you've got longer limbs, you can stretch out a bit further, particularly with these forward controls and the nicely positioned drag bars.
It's also the second best handling of all the big blocks, and is a real delight to hammer the rubber-mounted 103 cube out of a tight apex. The Fat Bob still holds the best handling title, but the Street Bob SE is pretty damn close.
It tracks really nicely through these corners. It's very predictable. Bumps don't seem to throw it offline at all. It tracks very nicely.
The next impression I got was that the bike seems to be a cross between a standard Street Bob, a Fat Bob, and a Wide Glide, or like a composite of parts thereof. The SE runs the same drag-style V handlebars on risers as its cousin the Fat Bob, in lieu of the mini apes on the standard model. It also features forward controls, rather than the mid-foot mounts of the standard. Along with the Screaming Eagle style saddle, with a pillion seat instead of a solo, it makes for a very comfortable perch for the longer limbed, while the 680mm saddle height means that shorter legs will still be able to flat-foot it pretty comfortably too. The other main difference between the standard and the SE are in the wheels and tyres. The SE runs split 5-spoke cast aluminium mags with machined highlights, while black laced rims are on the stocker. Some of which maybe takes away from the pared down bobber referenced in the machine's advertising copy, and to my eye the SE isn't quite as aesthetically pleasing as the standard's bobber look. I always thought that the Street Bob is the bike that the Fonz would ride today, but the real difference is in the way the SE rides. Of course, it still has the no-nonsense rear end with combined taillights and indicators and shorty guards, and it remains a very good looking machine. But more importantly, its low-down, relaxed riding position, combined with the pulling power of the 2016 edition of the 103 cube engine, delivers a bike that made me constantly want to pin it on exits and on launches.
See how she goes here. Yeah, that's real nice.
Like all the rubber-mounted Dynas, some of the engine's vibrations are evident, mostly in the foot pegs, but for me it just highlighted how strong the motor felt and encouraged me to roll it on even harder. It also meant keeping an eye on the tank-mounted instrument cluster. Along with the familiar analog speedo, the other retro tech is displayed in the crinkled finished housing. LCD trip meters, fuel range, tacho, gear indicator, and more are all available via the cycle button on the left-hand switch block. I mostly use the range display, which is far more accurate than the fuel gauge and the dummy gas cap. The bike's cornering and road holding are amongst the top-notch in the cruiser class. The Dynas run a mild steel tubular frame with rectangular section backbone featuring stamped cast and forged junctions. Flex is minimal, and with preload adjustable twin shocks at the rear offering around 80mm of travel, and 49mm diameter forks with around 127mm of travel up front, the bike's manners are confidence-inspiring. Grabbing a handful of the 4-piston fixed front and 2-piston free-floating rear brakes, even while cranked over, presented no problems. Harley's continually improving ABS helps there too. The brakes aren't quite as powerful as on the latest editions of the Softail range, but they work just fine nonetheless. As I say every new model year, like a broken record, the 103 Cube just gets a little bit better with each new model. They've all performed flawlessly in the time I've been testing them. The 1690cc 98.4 by 111.1 bore and stroke twin cam looks unchanged from 2015, on the spec sheet and at first glance anyway, apart from some of the external finishes, like the air filter cover and some polished sections on the heads. It's just a lovely, plush feeling engine, and just a little bit sweeter than last year's. This unit only had 400 kilometres on the clock when I picked it up, and it was slightly harder to find neutral when the bike was stationary than some others I've tested lately. But as I racked up the Ks, it became more compliant. Otherwise, shifting through the 6-speed cruise drive was as pleasant as the rest of the motorcycle. I did a lot of city cruising and around town work. The bike is narrow and lane splits with ease. It carves up traffic easily with 130 Nm of torque on tap and has a ton of black denim style to suit. It even made freeway blasts very enjoyable. Day rides and coastal cruising were also very pleasant. Outstanding comfort levels and its relaxed gait meant a big day was easy. If you need a screen for touring, there are several in the accessory catalogue, same with saddlebags. Overall, I thought it's a very versatile machine. City, highway and country riding. Comfortable, stylish, chuckable, and it made me grin. A lot. The 17.8 litre tank was good for around 300 kilometres, depending on how long I kept the fuel warning light glowing. Carrying my payload in mainly city riding and reasonably hard throttle use, see launching and pinning previously, it returned around 19.5 kilometres per litre, which isn't too far away from Harley's claim figures of 5.5 litres per 100 kilometres. Combined with Harley's overall servicing costs, the Dynas are a reasonably economical motorcycle to run. At just under 24,000 Australian dollars, the Street Bob Special Edition is a versatile, enjoyable and rewarding motorcycle that looks great and has the intangible feel-good that comes with a well-sorted Harley-Davidson. It also endorsed Brum's call that the Dynas really are well worth a closer look.